of creation. Na na na, na 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 na, oh na na.
The story of creation isn't just about how the world began. It's a window into the divine design, the living blueprint of how the divine light moves through all things. Each day reveals a deeper movement of that light and presence emanating through creation. Together they form a pattern through which the divine awakens unto itself. And why does this matter? Because each of us plays a part in that awakening. Each and every one of us is a partner with the divine in this holy unfolding. Shalom everybody, and welcome back to Old Soul Torah. We're going to be looking at the 7 stages of creation that continuously repeat themselves. This is the God's way of interacting with his creation and through his creation as his creation. And we're going to be learning about how that works from a soul-based approach to understanding the text that is seen as prophetic and a book of revelation and eternal and timeless wisdom, all for the unfoldment of our soul's journey. We're going to be beginning with day 1.
First day, light breaks through the dark. Awareness takes form, igniting the spark.
Beginning with day 1, we have the birth of awareness and awakening. So on day 1, as you know, light was created, and this is the light of getting it, the light of realization, the light of knowingness, the light of understanding. And it is birthed from darkness. It emerges forth from darkness. Notice on day 1, the Torah never says that darkness was created. Day 1, only light was created. But darkness was there because it's in the verse, because a separation between light and darkness took place. So where did darkness come from? In the previous verse, verse 2 of Genesis, you can see there that darkness is primordial. It existed before creation. It's not the opposite of creation. It's not an enemy to creation, God forbid, but it's the backdrop of creation. The Kabbalists refer to this primordial soup by which all life emerges as a womb by which everything came forth. So darkness, in a sense, is feminine, and the first ray of light, the introduction to light, is the masculine principle. When the masculine and the feminine work together, creation takes place. So light is where everything begins. It's the new energy or life force or emanation of God that begins to speak itself into the creation, that begins to assert itself.
On the second day, heaven and earth align. Harmony acts in establishing balance and sacred boundaries.
Day 2 is, now that we have a polarity, now that we have male and female, darkness and light, now we get introduced to the idea of a harmony between the opposites. So day 2 is the second level of consciousness, when consciousness realizes that it takes a partner and opposite to dance with in life. So we see this with the separation of waters, the upper waters and the lower waters. The upper waters in Kabbalah is seen as the waters of the masculine, and the waters below, the receiving waters, is the feminine.
The upper waters are said to weep for being separated from the lower waters and vice versa. Their yearning for reunion mirrors the cosmic desire for Yehud, union, the harmony of the masculine and feminine, heaven and earth, spirit and matter.
And we see that, symbolically speaking, these waters represent masculine and feminine, heaven and earth, material and spiritual, and anything in this world, in this universe, that has an other, a partner, a polarity. The dance of the polarities, even in electricity, positive and negative, develops a very powerful current and is necessary for the forwarding of this light. And when this harmony is achieved, as it is in the second day stage of creation, Day 3 is able to happen.
On the third day, fertility and growth. Life begins to grow. Seeds of love start to flow.
Day 3, it's vegetation, trees, life, greenery, land, anything that is required for life. This is the realm of manifestation. So day 1 is the light of awareness. Day 2 is the harmony that can be achieved through the polarities, the opposites. Once that harmony is achieved, day 3, it's the unfolding, the manifestation, the growth takes place. Number 3 is plants and vegetation and trees, because it's all about forward moving growth.
On the fourth day, rhythm and order, sun, moon, stars in place. Time begins its holy race. Oh, 7 days of creation.
Day 4, it's rhythm and order and organization. So life is not random, life is purposeful. Life has a rhythm. And when you keep in its rhythm, you succeed. When you're out of its rhythm, when you don't have a rhythm, that's chaos. So God appointed the constellations, the planetary bodies, the earth, sun, luminary stars as signs how to measure both time, seasons, and also different chapters in the book of life. Different energy shifts, different changing of patterns, different introduction of different forces to help maneuver and navigate us through life. And if you remember the children of Israel when they were in Egypt, before they even were liberated, before God even took them out of Egypt, what was the first mitzvah? The first commandment is make for yourselves a calendar. That this is how you're supposed to measure time. And the measuring time took place, the monthly measurement is lunar by the moon. The yearly is solar, and one is a great light, a shining light, one is a reflective light. But either way that we look at time and our place in time as rhythmic, everything in this universe happens through cycles, one after another. There is an order, there is an organization. Once you can understand the cycles of time, that is wisdom. King Solomon, chapter 3 of Ecclesiastes, Kohelet, says there's a time and purpose and season for everything under heaven. And he goes and he lists the different kufot, the different cycles, war and peace, planting crops, harvesting crops. There's a time and place and season for everything under heaven. Once you know this, and you can intuitively read what time it is that you are currently in this pattern, that is wisdom. That is day 4.
On the 5th day, movement fills the sky. Wings and waves lift life high.
Day 5, it's our emotions, our aspirations, what drives us. There's 2 kinds of drives in life, represented by the fish and represented by the birds. The fish you don't see, they're underneath the surface. The fish represent what's the driving forces in our subconscious. We don't know why we act the way we do. We don't always have a conscious reason why we do what we do and why we grow and reach for what we're reaching. So the fish represent that which is beneath the unseen, that which is beneath the surface. And then on the highest level are the birds that are gliding. Those are our dreams, our goals, our visions, the things we want for ourselves in life, our aspirations. And between the sea and the sky, between the fish and the birds that both imply movement and emotions and feelings and drives, between those two is everything that we can imagine, everything that moves us in life. If you really think about it, our emotions, what are emotions? Emotions are E as in energy. E equals energy in motion. It's energy in motion. So this is a furthering of the growth cycle on the 5th day of creation. And this answers the question, by the way, why wasn't the fish and the birds just thrown together with the animals? Why weren't they all just created on the same day? Why was there a separate day just for fish and birds? And that's because it represents our emotions, or what drives us in life.
On the 6th day, mastery, man with vision clear, shaped by his image into his likeness.
Now the last day of creation, which is the sixth day, remember the seventh day wasn't an act of creation, it was rest. But the last final act of creation represents mastery. Mastery and taking everything that you've learned before and implementing it. And this is where both man and animal are introduced on the world stage. And what they come to represent, man is introduced to the idea that he's created in the image of God. That means he has a divine nature. But why was the beasts, why were the animals created on the same day? What is that to tell us? And why did God tell Adam, the first man, that he is to control both creation and the beasts of the field, should be under his dominion? And that is because we are not just created in the image of God, but we have an animal nature. And what God is telling us is only when we can achieve mastery over the beastly part of ourselves and our appetite for the material, for the earthly, which is represented by artziut, eretz, creation, land. Once we can develop certain kind of control or mastery over the animal part of ourselves, then maybe we can come to know the divine image within ourselves. But this all requires awareness, mastery, and most of all, responsibility, which is the final act of this cycle, growth cycle. Once we've finished or mastered or gone through this final act, then we have the seventh day.
On the seventh day, rest return to source. Peace and love complete the course.
Seventh day is Shabbat. It's a day of rest, renewal, recharging, resouling, but really it's completing the circle, completing the cycle. 7 is a complete cycle. And how do we complete the cycle? By taking the physical and dedicating it and elevating it back to its source, returning everything, all the mastery in the physical world, all the growth and cycles and the lessons we learned along the way, and devoting it, elevating it, returning it back to its source, its creator, Hashem Yitbarach, Almighty, the King of all kings, the source, the creator, the redeemer, and the final act is that union with him, with it. So now you've learned a lot of principles here in the cycle of growth and mastery here on the earthly level. We are spiritual beings here to understand the physical experience. And hopefully these 7 stages can at least open up that realm of possibility for you, that you could look at it in a new way. Because it's some powerful medicine here, folks. These growth cycles didn't just happen one time in history. They are ongoing. They are ongoing. And hopefully you can look at these closer and gain an understanding of how to successfully navigate as spiritual beings through the human experience.
7 days of creation.